Hi, seventh graders. So we are now formally into our historical fiction unit. Most of you have chosen your time period. So your task for the next couple of classes is to do some research and find out some of the things that you want to know about the time period, some of the important dates, important people, events, things like that. And to do that, we're going to be using a device called a KWL chart. And a KWL chart means K, what do I know about the time period? Some of you may know a lot about the time period you chose. Some of you may know absolutely nothing, and it's perfectly okay in the K section to say, I don't know anything about this time period. And that's pretty exciting because this means everything will be new learning. The W stands for what I want to know. And this is critical. This is where you develop a series of questions, the who, what, where, why, when, how questions that help you guide your research. What is it you want to know? And as you learn more, you're always going to be generating new questions. And then lastly, you're going to be completing the L. And I want to demonstrate today what it means to show what you've learned, or L, and how to take notes effectively, because we want to really get out of the habit of copying notes word for word and learn how to bullet notes and really figure out what is important and what is not. So we're going to take a look at that today. So here's the first document you're going to be working in, your KWL chart. And as a sample, I'm going to be looking at the Holocaust because in person, I am reading a book called Milkweed by Jerry Spinelli, and it's all about an orphan boy's experience during the Holocaust living in the Warsaw Polish ghetto. So the first thing you're going to see is it says time period. So I've listed the Holocaust. For dates, I don't know the exact dates. I know that it was in the 1930s to the 1940s, but I'm not positive. So that's something that I'm going to have to research. And location, I know it took place in Europe. And the major countries that were involved in the Holocaust were Germany, Poland, Austria. And there could be more, so I may need to find out more. So here's where we get started thinking about some brainstorming. So what I know about the Holocaust. So I know that 6 million Jews were killed. There were death camps. There were labor camps. In addition to Jews, the Nazis did not like gypsies, handicapped people, homosexuals. So I know that, and it was a really bad time. So I could list lots more. I know several more facts, but I'm going to leave it at that. So here is what I want to know. This is my W. What do I want to know about the Holocaust? So first question, why did Hitler hate Jews? I want to know who was responsible for the camps. And since I'm thinking about camps, what were the major camps? What were the big camps that you hear about? And so on and so forth. So again, I am using the who, what, where, why, how types of questions. And obviously 3 questions is not a lot, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So now here comes the part where you're going to jot down what you learned. That's your L, what I learned about. So we really want to get out of the habit of capturing notes word for word. I prefer what we use a bullet method. So a bullet's just a dot, where you take down what you would consider the main idea. And sometimes that's a single word, sometimes it's a phrase, sometimes it's a date. So just using some of the information from the book Milkweed, here's some ideas that I know about the Holocaust. So this story took place in 1939. So that's my note. Here's another note. It was in the Warsaw Jewish ghetto in Poland. I know that Nazis conquered Poland. So you'll notice I'm not writing complete sentences. I want phrases, I want main ideas, I want dates, I want just the things that are really, really, really important. Because for this historical fiction project, we are not going to be writing a research paper on our time period. We're going to be doing some other things. So I can go on, Jews were rounded up, sent to camps. They had Jews wore, and I'm just going to, the Star of David on their clothes just to identify them, and so on and so forth. So this is the second page, and this is really, the purpose for this is you certainly don't have enough room on the KWL chart to record everything you've learned. So again, I'll just, keep bulleting things. I know that Auschwitz was the name of a death camp. I know that Anne Frank hid with her family. She was a famous Holocaust character. She's a real person. They lived in a closet for 14 months. That the Americans liberated the camps. So you'll notice again, they're not complete sentences. They are just words, phrases, things that will help me really understand the time period. Because I'm doing research, then what we really want to make sure you do is bookmark your sources. Even if you only find one fact from a source, make sure you bookmark your sources, because we are going to be creating a works cited page. We're going to be using a website called Scribber, and I will be demonstrating how to use Scribber next week. So basically what I'm asking you to do is find out anything and everything that you want to know about your time period. And that's critical. What do you want to know? Not what I want you to know, but what do you think is important? So think about what your interests are. If you are studying a war, maybe you're just really interested in the types of weapons that they used. Or if you're studying Hurricane Katrina, maybe you want to study what Louisiana looked like before and after. Maybe you want to find out more about hurricanes. So it's up to you to determine what you want to know. Once we start reading our books, it's going to be critical that you compare what you learned about your time period with how the author describes the time period in a fiction work, so that you're going to see how do authors portray actual times and places in fiction. And that's really kind of our goal. So next week you'll be getting some activities where you're going to be talking about the book that you want, the book that you read, and how it relates to the actual history of your time period.